Hello everyone, welcome back again on my channel. This is the Master Teacher Serene. I was walking down the street at Akihabara, which is sort of electronic market here in Tokyo, Japan. I've seen a couple of products, iPhones, Apples from Steve Jobs, which is an American. And the thing is, he's American, and the same iPhones, the same Apple's product, you see them everywhere you go. I was in China, I was in Congo, I was in, anywhere I've been, I've seen those products. The question is, how do these companies, how does Apple Enterprise manage to enter all those markets in different countries? We talked about that in my previous videos, which is market entry strategies. We discussed multiple strategies, their advantages and disadvantages. Then we went even further. We introduced what is marketing. Marketing is pretty much before you can settle down in a country, you have to do some market research. You have to study the preferences, the needs of the clients, customers that you're going to be selling your products to. Now, or service. Today we're going to talk about the organization, the management of international or global businesses. What kind of structure, what kind of organization do these companies put in place to manage, first of all, their employees and, let's say, all the staff members in general? This is what we're going to talk about today. Stay tuned. There's a variety of organizational structures used in many different professional settings. Today we're going to talk about three mainly, and you can, go deep into some specifics if you would want to, but we're just going to be general here. In general, we have around three, but specifically we have about 10 or more. So I'm just going to be general today. The first one is the hierarchical structure. So this is pretty much the one that we all used to. Basically, it's more like an hierarchy where you see the top management, middle management, then the employees, regular employees. So basically, it's structured in a way that you have the top person or the top level management, which could be called maybe president in some organizations, which could be called CEO or director. It depends on the kind of organization or structure you're dealing with. Then comes maybe the vice president or maybe mostly vice president. You see the idea is vice president or sort of the subordinate of the president, and right after the vice president you can come up with those called managers. Managers do have levels, but I'm not going to go through that. And then after the managers you go through with the supervisors. Right after the supervisors, you can see all sort of employees, the rest of them. So basically, that's pretty much the main idea. It's more like army. Just like in the army, we have officers. Then after the officers, we have maybe the managers and the supervisors, and then we have the front line. The front line is like, the soldiers, all those, the rest of the employees in the organization. It's very similar to the army in terms of the hierarchy. In hierarchical structure, there is no much space or speed for the organization to quickly decide on certain things. Because first of all, let's say the supervisor gets a report, then he has to send it to the managers have to send it to the vice president has to go to the president, and it takes a lot of time for any decisions to be made, which somehow could be a little problem. And the second structure that we're going to talk about is the team-based structure. At this point, there is not so much of a hierarchy, but more like a partnership, people coming together, maybe according to their skills, according to certain things that can put them together. And then they work together. there is no boss at this point, but there is cooperation. So team-based structure or organization is mostly like, let's say we want to build a company internationally. We have engineers, we have marketers, we have IT people that can do the design, we have the recruitment team. So all these kind of people come together and work together, share information very close. The collaboration is top notch. No, it's more like partnership. So that team-based structure is kind of faster because everybody sits on the same table to take decisions, to decide on what has to be done. And, so it's much more faster than, in terms of decision making, than the hierarchical structure. The last structure is the matrix structure. Which is kind of a combination. Let's say it's more like a combination of the hierarchical structure and the team-based structure. So at this point, we have multiple teams together, right? We have a lot of teams together. Within those teams, we also have groups, and also the overall also has a structure. Those, let's say we have recruitment team, we have marketing team, we have management team, all of them work together. At this point, you have multiple bosses. As an employee, you don't really know who is your real boss because all of them are your bosses, and they all work together to be more effective and all things of a kind. So basically, it's more like a mix of the hierarchical. You also have some sort of hierarchy, some levels of power, some levels of leadership, some levels of executive power. But within those people, let's say recruitment team, marketers, they all work close to each other to decide on things, but no one is working for no one. They are all bosses. And you as a bottom employee or frontline employee, you have to kind of cope by, So at this point, the confusion might be coming from the fact that you really don't know who is really your boss, but there are divisions and there is a teamwork and there is hierarchy as well in the same place. So that's pretty much it. We're going to watch a little video to just make it more, real and to make it more understandable with real life experiences. So we're going to listen to a short speech of Steve Jobs, the owner of Apple's iPhones and all that. We're going to listen to their organizational structure. Right after that, I'm going to give you my idea about what I think about what kind of structure do they have.
One of the keys to Apple is Apple's an incredibly collaborative company. You know how many committees we have at Apple?
No.
0. We have no committees.
No committees.
We are organized like a startup. One person's in charge of iPhone OS software. One person's in charge of Mac hardware. One person's in charge of iPhone hardware engineering. Another person's in charge of worldwide marketing. Another person's in charge of operations. We're organized like a startup. We're the biggest startup on the planet. And we all meet for 3 hours once a week, and we talk about everything we're doing, the whole business. And there's tremendous teamwork at the top of the company, which filters down to tremendous teamwork throughout the company. And teamwork is dependent on trusting the other folks to come through with their part without watching them all the time, but trusting that they're going to come through with their parts. And that's what we do really well. And we're great at figuring out how to divide things up into these great teams that we have and all work on the same thing, touch bases frequently, and bring it all together into a product. We do that really well.
And also think about it, you give me your answer as well. So basically, I would say that it's not really a matrix structure. That's what Steve Jobs uses, because it's more like a dictatorship, but in a productive way. Because they don't have, unlike the hierarchical structure. They don't have a set of people that have to decide on something. It's more like a hierarchy, but in a very specific way, which there is a specialist in each department, and that means there is not so much dialogue in terms of democracy where everybody can decide on what to do. No, there is only one specialist, that's what I say, kind of dictatorship. And there is also some kind of team based in there, because like he mentioned, everybody works together to give in their best, but no one is watching no one, and they trust one another. So I would believe that is more like a hierarchy, like a matrix, but not very much in a hierarchical way, but in a more, let's say, there is a little bit of, well, I'm not so sure how to define this, but I would say it's kind of a matrix, but with a slightly difference where the hierarchy there is not basically from the CEO, the president. They don't have much employees like that. They mainly have one representative for each department or each section that they focus on, and that specialist is the kind of the source of power or leadership and everything for the rest of the employees, which I would say is quite different from the hierarchical level or structure. So I would say the Steve Jobs company, like enterprise organizational structure, is more of an improved version of a matrix structure. So that was it for today. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.